Alright, college algebra, this may or may not be the last video, so this has to do with the review. I'm doing a few of them for you so that you know sort of kind of what might be on the test. Remember, the test is open notes. Alright, so the first one, make sure you can solve, and so this one can be factored. So we have 3x and x, and we have positive and positive because the last term is positive. So I want to multiply the 3 times the 2 to make 6, and then one more would make the 7 for the middle. So then I say 3x plus 1 is 0. Solve for x there, subtract 1, divide by 3. Negative 1 over 3. Here's x plus 2 is 0, so that makes x equal to negative 2. So make sure you can factor. All right, this one, solve with a denominator. So the first thing I would do is I would factor my denominator here, x minus 2, because I'm going to multiply everybody by the least common denominator. And as I look at this, this right here, this 2, x minus 2, is the least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everybody by 2, x minus 2, 2, x minus 2, and then 2, x minus 2. What that does is it gets rid of these denominators. Boom, boom. So I end up with 1 plus 2 times 2 is 4 equals, this becomes 10 times x minus 2. So then this is 10x minus 20. So I add 20 to both sides. I get 25 equals 10x. So x equals 2.5. Remember, you need to double check to make sure that your answer doesn't make a denominator of 0, right? And the only number that would make a denominator of 0 would be 2. This is 2.5, so we're good. So x equals 2.5. This one, remember absolute values. You get the absolute value by itself first. For x, add 12 equals 12. Now remember, absolute values always have two parts. 2 minus 4x equals 12, or 2 minus 4x equals negative 12. So subtract 2, so negative 4x equals negative 14. Subtract 2. No, that wasn't right. That's not negative 14. It's subtract 2, I get 10. What is that? 10, 12 minus 2 is 10. Who's doing this math over here? So subtract 2 over here. This is negative 14. So divide by 2, you get x equals negative, what is that? 10 divided by 4, 2.5. And divide by negative 4 here. X equals negative 4 divided by negative 14. Negative 14 divided by negative 4. Negative 3.5. Really? Is that right? Could be. Alright, so now you have to check to make sure you get 0, and I'm pretty sure both of these equal 0. You especially need to check when this side is an x. We don't have any x's over there, so I'm pretty sure both will work. Alright, now we have this with the inequality. Remember, greater than is or, less than is and. Greater than is or. So I say 3x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 5, or 3x minus 1. Remember, switch the inequality and the sign. And then I solve. So 3x is greater than or equal to 4. No, 6. Who's doing math this morning? X is greater than or equal to 2, or add 1. 3x is less than or equal to, add 1. You get negative 4. So x is less than or equal to negative 4. So that means if I were going to sketch the graph, negative 4, 2, it's going to be a closed circle, everything this way, closed circle, everything this way. So that means it's negative infinity to negative 4, square bracket, or square bracket 2 comma infinity. Okay, and then a round bracket. All right. And then this one, it's a cube root, so I'm going to cube both sides. I'm going to cube both sides. So I have 3x minus 4 is equal to 8. Add 4, 3x equals 12, x equals 4. And you can check those too, but those pretty much always work. All right, so the domain. Remember, domain is usually all reals except if it's a radical, an even radical, or a fraction. This is the radical, so remember the radicand, which is 2x plus 1, has to be greater than or equal to 0. And then solve, and you get 2x is greater than or equal to negative 1, or x is greater than or equal to negative 1/2. Remember, you can graph this, and it'll end up looking like this on your calculator, and right here would be negative 1/2. So it's going to be greater than or equal to negative 1/2. So use your calculator to double check your answers. All right, f of 2t, it's a game of substitution, remember. So 2 times 2t squared minus 5 times 2t plus 1. So remember, in the game of order of operations, do your exponents first. So 2 times 2t squared is 4t squared. Then it's minus 10t plus 1, so it is 8t squared minus 10t plus 1. Even if this number in front is a negative, make sure you square first, then make it negative. All right, you have to be able to write lines, okay, through 2 points. So the first thing, find your slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Things like this, write them down so that you can use them for your final. So negative 2 minus 2 over negative 3 minus 1 looks like negative 4 over negative 4, which is 1. And then I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so I end up with, I'm going to use the first point, so y minus 2 equals 1 times x minus 1. Distribute my 1, y minus 2 equals x minus 1. Add 2, y equals x plus 1. Okay? It's a multiple choice. They're all multiple choice, so make sure you pick the right ones. And find the circle equation. Circle equation's been a long time. X minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, equals r squared. So x minus 2, the quantity squared, plus y minus negative 3, the quantity squared, equals 5 squared, which is, I'll just go ahead and write it, 25. Okay? So make sure you can pick the right equation. All right, all the answers. All right, you have to make sure you know parallel and perpendicular. Remember we played that game, parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Parallel, remember it's the same slope. Same slope. And remember with perpendicular, it's negative reciprocal slope. Okay? So put them both into y equals mx plus b form. So 3x minus 2y equals 5. So I'll subtract 3x, subtract 3x. I get negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 5. Divide by negative 2. Divide everybody by negative 2. So y equals 3/2 x minus 2.5. And I'm writing more decimals because that's how it'll look on Blackboard, because you can write fractions are icky. Anyway, the slope that's parallel is going to be the same as this, which is 3/2. So 2x plus y equals 6. Y equals negative 2x plus 6. So this slope is negative 2. So I want a perpendicular slope. So the negative reciprocal is going to be a positive 1/2. Okay, so be careful. Be super careful. Midpoint, remember we take the averages. So 1 plus negative 3 divided by 2, and 2 plus negative 2 divided by 2. So that makes negative 2 over 2, comma 0 over 2. So it looks like the midpoint is negative 1, 0. You can graph those on graph paper and you'll see that those are in the middle also. Alright, what was I supposed to do here? Oh, solve them probably. Okay, I'm going to solve this by elimination. I'm going to multiply this by 2 to get rid of the y's. So 3x plus 2y equals 1. And then 4x minus 2y equals negative 22. So add them together, 7x equals negative 21, divide by 7, x equals negative 3. Make sure you go back and solve for y. So I have 3x plus 2y equals 1. I don't like negatives. So plug in my negative 3. I get negative 9 plus 2y equals 1. Add 9, 2y equals 10. So y equals 5. So my answer is negative 3, 5. Okay, I think I will stop this video here and then make a